This is also the National Institutes of Health, which last year proposed to amend their mission statement to exclude the word disability, saying it, quote, could be interpreted as perpetuating ableist beliefs that disabled people are flawed and need to be fixed. Let me take this moment to go on record. Folks, if I am ever struck blind or deaf or paralyzed, don't praise me. Fix me. The woke think the #1 job is to protect homeless people from stigma. I think the #1 job is to protect them from rain. When Adele lost weight, she was excoriated for betrayal. To who? She betrayed the unhealthy?
So, the left is in an uproar yet again, and guess who they're trying to cancel this time? The very people actually attempting to fix he problems weighing society down. Yep, you heard that right. In the far-left universe, only they are allowed to do good or propose solutions. Everyone else is instantly labeled a fraud or a hypocrite just chasing applause. Absurd, isn't it? Ma certainly thinks so. The outspoken comedian cuts straight through the far-left performative outrage, and honestly, it was pure comedy gold. Grab your popcorn, he didn't pull any punches. Let's dive into the spectacle.
A Washington Post reporter tweeted, "What truly needs curing is society's view of disabled people." And BuzzFeed agreed, Mr. Beast seems to regard disability as something that needs to be solved. Okay, disability is something that needs to be solved. And what truly needs curing is blindness. Here's how I know this. The newly sighted people are cheering, not booing, because Mr. Beast, whoever the that is, just cured them and you didn't do. You know the expression or go blind? You didn't either.
Maher doesn't mince words, he goes straight for the jugular. No hesitation, no warm-up. He calls out what many see as a familiar pattern on the far left. They rarely lift a finger to help anyone, yet the moment someone else steps in, they're ready to cancel them with Olympic-level speed. Their latest gripe, that someone doing good shouldn't film it for YouTube. But Maher hits them with the obvious question, where do they think the money to do that good comes from? It's the videos themselves that fund the generosity, not vanity. And here the real irony: if he had all the money in the world and chose not to help anyone, the far left would still go after him. It's a lose-lose scenario because the outrage isn't really about morality, it's about control. You simply can't satisfy people who are committed to being offended.
I don't get the woke. They love nothing more than being a victim, except when they really are one, and then they tell you, I am not, go f*** yourself. Get this. Last month, Mr. Beast, in another dick move, funded the construction of 100 wells across 5 countries in Africa to provide clean drinking water to 500,000 people. Good thing, right? No. Not good, bad. The founder of a charity called Face Africa called it kind of frustrating that overnight this person comes along who happens to be a white male figure with a huge platform, and all of a sudden he gets all of the attention. Yes, but you know what else is frustrating? Dying of thirst.
Exactly that the point. The woke left seems perpetually offended and satisfied by nothing. Mr. Beast humanitarian work in Africa should be something everyone can applaud, yet an NGO is upset because they think he's stealing their spotlight. Really, if someone is doing the same work you claim to be doing, bringing clean water, building infrastructure, improving lives, the logical move would be to collaborate and amplify the impact. Instead, their reaction reveals something far less noble. They don't want Mr. Beast involved because his presence shifts the spotlight, and with it, the funding they've grown accustomed to. When that funding dries up, so does their influence and control over the narrative. Their outrage isn't rooted in ethics or effectiveness, it's rooted in fear of losing attention and control.
Mr. Beast, how dare he come in and bogart digging the wells? That's so white guy. Always taking fresh water and shoving it down our throats. Oh, another thing this asshole did in Africa was pay for the rebuilding of an African orphanage, which the director of the Hope and Homes for Children charity called it a classic case of white saviorism. So true. Ask any orphan to name the worst part of their life. Show-offs!
The more you think about it, the more shocking it becomes. Society problems were never going to be solved solely by governments or by the self-appointed heroes of the far left. Real progress has always depended on people ordinary or influential who step up and do their part. That's exactly what Mr. Beast is doing. His work in Africa isn't some exaggerated case of white saviorism, as critics like to frame it. It's a direct response to urgent needs that have been overlooked by various governments for decades. Clean water, infrastructure, and basic necessities aren't political tools, they're human essentials. And when someone finally steps in to provide them, the focus should be on the lives changed, not on nitpicking the motives of the person doing the helping. Mr. Beast isn't undermining anyone. He's filling a gap that should never have existed in the first place.
How did we get to this weird place? Telling people who are actually out in the world making a positive difference, you're the problem. Yeah, quick question, who the are you? And this isn't only the media and the people on Twitter who exist to bitch, always finding something. He just did it for the clicks, or for the wrong reason, or you should have done more, or sooner, or whatever. You signed X. No.
Maher's words hit hard, sharp, precise, and impossible to ignore. And honestly, he's right to call it out. Who exactly are these far-left critics who believe they hold the moral authority to judge anyone's altruism? It's almost laughable. They won't lift a finger to help, yet the moment someone else steps up, they rush in to cancel, condemn, and complain. No matter how sincere the effort is, they'll still find something negative to say, as if fault-finding is their full-time occupation. In their eyes, every act of kindness must have a hidden agenda unless they're the ones doing it. Then suddenly it's noble, pure, and beyond criticism. Maher exposes this hypocrisy with precision. His point is simple. Altruism shouldn't be attacked just because it doesn't come from the approved ideological camp. Good is good, no matter who's doing it.
This is also the National Institutes of Health, which last year proposed to amend their mission statement to exclude the word disability, saying it, quote, could be interpreted as perpetuating ableist beliefs that disabled people are flawed and need to be fixed. Let me take this moment to go on record. Folks, if I am ever struck blind or deaf or paralyzed, don't praise me. Fix me. Don't sit around talking about how much I'm just as good as you. Fix me. Do something. Use AI. Invent something.
Maher is right, and he doesn't tiptoe around the truth. People living with disabilities don't need performative speeches, shallow hashtags, or woke talking points that celebrate them while leaving them in the same difficult circumstances. What they truly need is real support, medical care, accessibility, opportunities, and tools that help them overcome challenges and participate fully in society. Maher argues that empowering people to improve their situation isn't offensive, it's humane. Yet somehow, the far-left outrage machine twists genuine help into an insult, as if offering someone a chance at a better life is an attack on their identity. It's absurd. Real compassion isn't about empty praise, it's about removing actual barriers so people can thrive, grow, and enjoy the same freedoms as everyone else.
You know, there's so much faking this time of year between the presents you don't want to buy and the presents you didn't want to get and the goodwill toward men that lasts until January 2nd. I just don't have room for, and disability is awesome. It's not awesome. And it's not a political affiliation. That's the problem. We turn everything into a political identity category. You're deaf. That's your identity. Don't mess up a good thing by hearing.
Maher is right. Everything has become so politicized that even disability has been turned into an identity label. In today's climate, nothing can simply be what it is. Everything has to fit neatly into a political narrative or cultural box. And this trend didn't appear out of nowhere. It grew out of a mindset where every issue and every group was treated as a branded identity. Homelessness, illness, immigration status, nothing remained neutral. There was always a label ready. Instead of prioritizing real problems and real solutions, lived experiences were turned into ideological symbols. Now disability has been pulled into that same arena, treated like a political badge rather than a human condition that calls for practical support, empathy, and meaningful action. Maher highlights just how absurd it becomes when common sense is replaced with identity theatrics.
When Adele lost weight, she was excoriated for betrayal. To who? She betrayed the unhealthy? The woke have even turned the homeless into a political identity group, as opposed to liberals, old school liberals, who just want to get them off the street, which now is seen as kind of judgy, like, don't disturb them in their natural habitat.
It's the same attitude toward homelessness that helped worsen California crisis. Instead of supporting meaningful solutions, treatment, expanded shelter capacity, rehabilitation programs, and policies that actually reduce homelessness, the woke crowd opposed nearly every practical effort. When city officials tried to clear dangerous encampments, activists rushed in, insisting that sidewalks and tent cities were the homeless population natural habitats. The absurdity would be comical if the consequences weren't so severe. Leaving people in unsafe, unsanitary, and dehumanizing conditions isn't compassionate negligence disguised as virtue. By blocking real interventions in the name of ideological purity, they ended up trapping people in the very suffering they claimed to defend. Instead of helping the homeless off the streets, they helped them remain there. That not empathy, it enabling misery while pretending it moral.
They're just living their best life under the bridge. The woke think the number one job is to protect homeless people from stigma. I think the number one job is to protect them from rain.
The first responsibility of anyone who claims to care about the homeless is simple: get them real help and get them off the streets. That's the foundation. Once they're in a safe environment away from violence, disease, addiction triggers, and the daily grind of survival, then you can address issues like stigma and restoring dignity. But trying to protect them from stigma while leaving them on the streets is completely backwards. It's putting the cart so far ahead of the horse that the horse can't even see it. Keeping people in dangerous encampments just to appear compassionate isn't compassion at all, it's moral posturing. True care means addressing the root issues: mental health, addiction, unemployment, lack of support systems, and helping people reintegrate into society. Anything less is simply pretending to help while the suffering continues in plain sight.
Speaking of which, when I did the Ice Bucket Challenge back in 2014, I thought I was helping the cause of funding research to cure ALS. Wrong again! An op-ed in Time magazine said the Ice Bucket Challenge even seems to be suggesting that being cold, wet, and uncomfortable is preferable to fighting ALS. It was suggesting no such thing. What is wrong with this country that so many people can't be happy for anything for even a second?
Maher rightly points out that woke culture has turned into a group of wet blankets, always ready to smother anything that excites, inspires, or simply brings people joy, especially when they're not the ones behind it. If they're not involved, suddenly the whole thing becomes problematic, offensive, or worthy of cancellation. The predictability is almost comical. Everything is wrong to them unless the idea, recommendation, or initiative comes from their side of the ideological fence. They've turned nitpicking into a full-time sport, acting as though they're the sole guardians of morality, and everyone else is just fumbling in the dark. Maher highlights this hypocrisy with sharp precision, calling out how the woke crowd doesn't just dislike anything they didn't create, they actively try to shut it down. Instead of celebrating good deeds, humor, or genuine progress, they're busy finding new angles for outrage. In the end, Maher exposes a glaring truth: this mindset isn't about compassion or progress. It's about control, outrage, and ideological gatekeeping. From attacking those who genuinely help others to politicizing disability, homelessness, and altruism, their moral posturing consistently undermines real solutions. Joy, generosity, and practical action are acceptable only when they come through the approved channels. Everything else is criticized, nitpicked, or cancelled. Maher's critique reminds us that common sense, genuine help, and good intentions shouldn't be punished for failing to fit a political script. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.